In my time of watching anime and loving ecchi and honestly writing stories of my own, I kind of realized a few things that honestly makes ecchi great and how you can, utilize it to make it very well received and stuff. But also it is a bit of a problem that a lot of anime has, and that's what I kind of want to talk about today. Because a lot of people do not watch ecchi anime. Let's get rid of the Twitter reason, obviously, like, oh, it's boobs and we can't have that. No, no, no. Not in my house. You know, we can't necessarily look at that because that's daily occurring shit that people will obviously talk about for every other reason. I want to bring up like the actual conversation of why is ecchi anime not popular, or why is it not necessarily as good, or what is it missing and things like that. And there's three things of what is missing that I want to basically go over. So the three things that it's missing is character designs, balance of titties and when to use them shits, and tone shift. If there is another reason, I'll add it later. But when it comes down to things, let's look at character designs. Because when it comes to a lot of ecchi shows, they have bland ass looking characters. A lot of times. I ain't talking about the old shows that people obviously like High School DxD or Monster Musume or shows that sort of thing, right? They look fine. They have characters that is iconic and people know who the hell they are, right? Or at least remember those characters. But then you have shows that kind of either copy their elements by having like the same redhead girl in each ecchi or harem show, honestly, because that is something that we can never get over when it comes down to things. But they have them a lot in these damn shows. Or they could make these characters look, bland and boring, and they don't necessarily look all that interesting, and and so on and so forth when it comes to things, right? A lot of it comes down to unique designs of characters, and you need that because if your characters don't look really unique, or they don't look interesting, or they don't necessarily have anything interesting with them that hasn't been done before, then I guarantee you your anime is going to struggle, and your harem and ecchi show is not necessarily going to be picked up well, or no one really is going to care, honestly, or even remember the damn show. And there's plenty of damn harem ecchi anime that exist out there that either show everything or show nothing, and is could be very good, but their characters look bland as shit, and I don't remember anything. Like maybe something like Absolute Duo. I remember watching Absolute Duo. I somewhat enjoyed my time with it. I just didn't care for it because the characters didn't look all that appealing, because they didn't look all that, I would say, different, honestly. Like if you put something like Absolute Duo and Quasar like and compare those two, I would be kind of like, well, isn't this the same damn show? Like honestly, that's what it feels like when I'm looking at the characters. I would say Quasar is a bit more better because it looked a little bit more, you know, I guess to my taste personally. But still, nonetheless, it kind of feels the same way. A lot of shows use the same kind of looking characters a lot of the damn time. Brown hair, black hair, or maybe, the same kind of color scheme that High School DxD has. Maybe a white hair character or a redhead character and stuff like that. And that's very boring, right? If I see a character that looks hot or that looks very interesting, I want them to have an interesting look about them that I'm not going to forget. It's why sometimes when people watch a shonen show, they'll always remember characters like Nezuko because she looks different and, she has a whole different thing about her. Or Makima because, she's a bit different and you can kind of tell that she has a bit of a unique design when it comes to things, right? Even if it's bare bones and somewhat basic, you can kind of tell that, there's some heat right here. But when you see other shows that has a whole host of characters and things of that sort, it gets bland and it gets boring very quickly. So you have to have a unique character design. For my show, every character has two-tone color hair, right? Every character has two-tone color hair. Like Blue has blue and orange, Shoko has purple and blue, and Yukari has like a whole host of things like purple, blue, white, black, and all that mixed together. Those characters have those kind of tones and stuff because I want them to be unique. When you see those characters, I want people to be like, damn, I remember how fine Symphony was. Oh my gosh, her titties was immaculate, right? That's what I want people to remember when it comes to just the design part of it. That they look good, that they're different, that they're not the damn same when it comes to a whole bunch of characters. So at the end of the day, make your characters unique looking, make them look different, and don't give them the same looking of vibe like every other character. Find your own scheme, find what works for you, and that's basically about it when it comes to that part. Now, the bigger part of your ecchi content when it comes to anime is your tone shifts and your ecchi moments and when to assert them, right? A lot of shows show ecchi, content, and they're very lewd, and they don't really hold back on certain things. And there's shows that does hold back and don't even show you nipples, honestly. And you can find a balance between anything, right? Like Shimonetsu was pretty damn good, honestly, but it didn't show a single nipple. Or it could be like Interspecies Reviewer that goes completely ham on it, but it's very damn good because it is what it is and it knows what type of show it wants to be. Or something like, Mystery in the Labyrinth of the World, which is an okay show. And, it's fine for what it was, and the pacing was pretty damn interesting. And it was, pretty damn nice, honestly. But it shows when to actually put those moments in because, you can expect that at a certain time when they get to the house and something like that, right? That's fine. It's not flopping all over the damn place. Or you have, like, a show like, Monster Musume, where it's like, oh, it's kind of interesting because it's monster girls doing it. And, you kind of can expect that from that type of show because it kind of sets the tone early. Here's the thing when it comes to things, right? You have to set the lewd tone early in your story because if you set it later, it's gonna be like, well, what the hell happened here, right? Like, it's like Mirai Nikki. Don't get me wrong, I like the lewd moments in Mirai Nikki. There are some hot ass females in that show, but there's sometimes where it's just like, why is it here, right? Why do we need to have a comedic lewd moment, right? Like, there's other parts of it where it's like, yeah, this is a serious moment, and I can understand why there's some nudity here, but why is there some lewd moments when it comes to, something humorous? It doesn't necessarily make a whole host of sense or something like that, right? Because the show is not humorous at all. Like, we getting bitches getting killed and, bodied out here. Should be on the table of Black Air Force activity. She should be on that damn round table, honestly. Someone need to put her there. Because she is wild as shit, right? And even with sometimes she loses her top. Sometimes you get to see actual titty, and it just be nice, right? But they use them in serious moments, and that's fine. But when it comes to anything else, it feels a bit strange and weird because they didn't set that tone early on. They didn't show you that, yes, this is possible very much early on. And if you don't show it, people are going to question it, how it's going to be. Like, people get mad at Fire Force, but you kind of should expect that from the show with Tamaki because the first scene you see Tamaki, she's already, Shinra holding her ass. Like, yeah, he's about to get some of that, honestly. You can kind of tell that this show about to set up some nonsense when it comes to her, right? So anytime you see that she's about to get put into a position of being on the camera, you already to know and expect, okay, Tamaki on screen, clearly she's going to start flashing her titties for the viewer to see, right? And a lot of times it happens, and it's fine, and people get angry about it when they see it because they didn't read the signs of the tone shift, right? That just is what it is. When Tamaki's on screen, lewd stuff happens. It is what it is. That's her character. The important takeaway is that if you don't have those tone shifts and you don't have it done, early on to show this is a anime that shows some, sketchy, ecchi behavior, and if you're not down with that, that's perfectly fine. But don't continue to watch the show and then complain about it later because you didn't read the tone shift, honestly. It's not the anime's fault, it's a you problem, honestly. And sometimes you just gotta kind of remember that, when you're writing a show, you have to remember those moments exist, especially if you put it in. Sometimes I forget in my own damn story that, those type of moments exist because I'm writing something serious. And I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot, right? And sometimes I just add it in just because, one, for Patreon, but two, also I add it in because, it's not too out of the pocket of what Jay would do. Like when he fought Tatsumaki and then, tossed Tanya in the air, but held her shirt tightly so she ripped out her shirt and stuff, and all you saw was flopping big boobs of Tanya, right? And that was fine. Or any of the moments in the beginning of the series where he was basically clapping cheeks so Despair wouldn't get control into his head like that. And that was fine because, again, the show was kind of, one, starting off, and two, you can kind of expect that because the tone shift was very early on. First episode, you got to see that type of stuff, right? So that's perfectly fine. You can expect lewd moments in those shows because they set the shifts pretty early on, whether it's episode 1 or episode 2 of that show. And if you see some boob and you see that it happens pretty early, expect this to be the kind of thing. If you do it beyond, I would say, episode 4 and something beyond that, then I feel like that's kind of like misleading to the anime and misleading to the audience, because there was no mention of that was going to happen at all, right? Like, it's kind of like if Redo a Healer kind of had, the McDonald's rap hay scene of Flair happen like 5 episodes in, and then continuously happen all throughout the episode. Would it be weird? Yes, it would be very much weird, because what the hell is that? But because you did it in episode 2, that's still pretty early on. We're still trying to adjust to these characters and what this story is, right? So since you have her getting, used in episode 2, we can kind of expect, okay, so the rest of the damn show is going to be like this, right? And that's what happened, right? Even if it's something that you don't really care for, even if it's something that you don't necessarily really like when it comes to the show, you can expect it going to happen, right? So again, tone shift is important, and then where to put it in is important as well. And I guess the last thing I could add on to this is story. Make sure your story makes, some type of sense. You can obviously flash boobs on screen all you want, or, do it whenever the hell you want to, but it has to be a balance, or it has to make sense. One of the damn two. Because you can have a show like Quasar, which is, having a lot of boobs and it's a damn plot point, but there's points of it where it's like, I don't really care, or like the story isn't necessarily interesting to me, which is why I kind of stopped watching Quasar. Personally, I just couldn't get into it like that. Or Man You Hiking Show, where the whole story again is about big titties having governmental power. And when it comes down to things, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I love seeing them fly everywhere, but I kind of just don't care for all of it, honestly, because it's not necessarily done super well, and I just don't necessarily really give two shits about it, honestly. So overall, when it comes down to things, you have to have mainly 4 things. Unique character designs to look interesting, your tone shifts, your moments of where you want to put it in, and basically, your story. Because again, you can have really cool looking characters, sexy ass characters, but if the story is whack, no one's going to care. Or you can have a really good story, but if your characters look whack, no one is going to care and really pay attention to things, right? So at the end of everything, again, you just have to have a balance, figure out things for yourself, and see what works. Because at the end of the day, a lot of ecchi anime and harem anime is experimental. A lot of stuff can get screwed over by, streaming sites, but sometimes they can get screwed over just because no one cares about the show like that, right? So that's essentially all I have for you for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow me on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Patreon is available as well. Also buy some merch because it's on sale for $5. Use the promo code that's on the site, find it in the description, or go to the site channel part, right? Just do it. Buy you some merch and tag me. I want to see what you look like. And that's essentially, again, all I have for you. So until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.